I've invited lovely school teacher Claire back to the House of Eldridge so I can do a look on her today, mainly just using contour and highlighter, because I want to show just how transformative those two items can be. I'm going to use very little else. Anyway, I hope you like the look. So I've already done Claire's base and a little bit through the eyebrows, a little bit of brow powder and a touch of mascara and some basic concealing. Now I'm going to go and use this Dainty Doll light reflective concealer. So where I've already done the basic concealing, I'm going to add onto the top here of the cheekbone and coming down slightly a little bit of light reflective light concealer, and this is really going to help when we start adding some sculpting and some depth to counteract that. It'll really help to bring this area forward and create shape and definition. So I'm just buffing that in, and then exactly the same light reflective highlighter. I'm going to use a touch here. I mean, this is all very subtle. We want it to look completely natural and real, nothing too over the top or theatrical. And I'll bring that also down a little bit onto Claire's nose. So it's just very, very subtly bringing those areas forward. And the key is definitely subtlety here. So using very thin products and really blending them well means that even in daylight or harsh light, you're not going to see anything sitting on top of the skin. So on to contouring. I'm going to use powder contour today. So I'm going to put a very light layer of translucent powder in the areas where I'm going to be contouring. It just means, particularly if you've got oily skin, this is really important because you have a slightly tacky residue from the foundation plus the oily skin. When you start to put the colour on, it'll stick too much, it won't go on smoothly. So a little bit of powder will really help it to glide on naturally. And it helps to set any concealing you've done. So for example, I did a little bit of concealing here onto Claire's little red bits. So I need to make sure that they are going to be well set before I do my contour as well. Now I have already done a film about powder contouring and how to choose the right colour. Because Claire is very pale, I'm going to probably mix two that I have. One is this contouring powder by Kevin O'Quan, and this is the medium, which might be a little bit too dark, but I like it because it hasn't got any oranginess, and on a pale skin you don't want to use a very orangey bronzer. The other one, which I think is very good, is this one by Jouer, and I'm choosing it because it's a very, very light bronzer and it has a peachiness to it, but it doesn't have, again, that reddy or oranginess, and you really need to be guided by your natural skin tone when it comes to choosing the right powder for contouring. So I've mixed both of those shades together and blended it on my hand first. I'm going to start to apply powder, and it just needs to be right along the cheekbone area. And what we don't want to get is anything that's too severe. And then coming up here onto the temple, just face forward. And the whole time you're doing this, it's good to look straight ahead in the mirror. If you do it all looking off to the side, you kind of can't see what the end result's going to be like. So every now and again, look from the front so you can really see that shape coming in, and it gives you an idea where it's going to look good. This kind of C shape, very, very soft. Now coming onto the jawline. This is where the colour is so important, otherwise you look like you've got a 5 o'clock shadow or something, or just an orangey stripe, which we don't want. If you can't find the right colour, and if bronzers tend to be too orangey, or if you're not able to find good contouring powders from for anywhere locally, sometimes matte eyeshadows are really good, because you want something that's not too bright. I often use Bobbi Brown matte eyeshadows if I find that I can't get exactly the right shade. Another good thing to look at for contouring is pressed powder, but for skin that's much darker than yours. So sometimes I'll use a really dark pressed powder on a pale girl, and it works so well because it's more, it's got more of the skin tones in rather than the bright coloured pigments. So we've kind of mapped out our shape, but this isn't soft enough yet. So we're going to map out our shape on the other side and then come back and really start blending this in. So now I'm going to start really blending this in. I'm going to go over the area we've mapped out. This is going to mess up the brows, but we're going to fix them, brush them back. Just really softening. If you want to, if you think you've already put too much on, use a completely clean brush for this. You can even use a little bit of loose powder to help to blend it in. Just going to take off any edges that we have. Just soften this all down. When you're sculpting along the jaw there, take it down a fraction just to blend off those edges. Otherwise, as I say, when you turn to the side, you get a funny old line there. So, let me just brush your brows back, or I've destroyed them. So now I'm using exactly the same two colours, the bronzer and the contour powder. Just close for me. I'm just going to contour in here. It's just really light, backward and forward, just to create a shape in there. You can bring it a little bit here onto the nose if you wanted. You could also take it slightly down the nose as well, and then clean that brush off and go over. So just really blending those edges.
It really tickles when you're on the nose.
Oh really? I think it's because I hardly put any pressure at all.
Yeah, it's really tickling.
Yeah, I'm sort of hardly touching your skin with the brush. So no harsh edges anywhere, and we don't want a kind of a 90s looking kind of heavy highlighter and concealery thing. It's just got to be very seamless and light so it looks really fresh at the same time. If you do think you've gone too far, a clean brush is definitely a good option just for really buffing over and taking off any of the, the intensity. Also, you can use a dry cotton wool disc and buff over the area, because that will just lift off the top layer of colour and really help to blend in. So next I'm going to put a little bit more highlighter on. You don't really need to, because we did the light reflective pen here earlier on, and it is kind of enough. But say it was an evening look and you want a little bit more shimmer. At the moment we've just got matte, everything is more or less matte with some very subtle light reflection around here and here, but it's, as I say, it's very, very subtle. I am going to add a shimmery highlighter. This is the Kevin O'Quan one. This is called Candlelight. I'm going to use one of my oldest brushes, my oldest favourites, just to add a little bit more, help it to catch the light a little bit more. It's literally right on the top there of the cheekbone. And the same highlighter.
Sorry.
Was it your tummy rumbling?
My stomach rumbled, sorry.
Oh no, that's alright. I have to feed you now. Tiny bit of the highlighter here as well. So that's nice, just with a touch of shimmery highlighter right at the end there. It looks really pretty and soft. To finish off for lips, I'm going to make them look quite sculpted in a way and shaped, but in a quite a nudie, neutrally way. So I'm going to use this lip pencil. This is by Serge Lutens, and it's a very beautiful beigey brown shade. I'm going to put that on and blend it in with a lip brush. Just getting a little bit of shape and definition in there. So next I'm going to use Makeup Forever Aqua Rouge, and this is a waterproof lip colour. Put a little bit on the back of my hand, and this looks like quite a good colour for this look. I'm going to apply the base colour first using a brush, and this will blend that lip pencil in as well. And then I'm going to put a tiny bit of the highlighter just here. I mean, hardly any at all, just what was left on the brush really from when I did the corner of Claire's eyes. And then from the Aqua Rouge, this is the gloss that goes over the top of the lip paint. I'm mainly just going to put that on the bottom lip, just to add a bit of volume, not that you need it. And that's pretty much the finished look. You can, if you want to, just go over everything again. Make sure all those edges are completely blended. The final finishing touch. But yeah, that's it. Very simple, just really highlighter and contour. Do you like it, Claire?
I love it. I love how it brings out the cheekbones. It's
yeah, your cheek.
amazing.
I mean, it's all the structure of your face. It's already there. You already had those high cheekbones, but it's amazing how a little bit of contour in just the right area can really bring a face to life.